the last 3 months, because of COVID-19, schools have been shut. I hope that these materials that we present today will be beneficial to students in their final year of secondary or high school.
Hello everyone, welcome to today's episode of Government. In our previous class, we taught of types and features of government. We made mention of different types of government, such as federalism or federal government, unitary government, confederal government, militarism, monarchy, presidential system of government, and parliamentary system of government. In our today's subtopic, we are going to consider the differences between the presidential and parliamentary system of government. The difference between presidential and parliamentary systems of government. The differences between presidential and parliamentary system of government are as follows. Under parliamentary system of government, 1. A prime minister is the head of government, while the president, king or queen is the head of state. That is, under parliamentary system of government, we have one person as the head of government, while the other as the head of state. In a parliamentary system of government, we have one person as the head of government, who is the prime minister, and then we have the other person, president, king or queen, as the head of state. While in presidential system of government, the executive president is both the head of state and the head of government. That is to say, in parliamentary system of government, there are 2 individuals who act as the president and the head of state, head of government, while in presidential system of government, both the head of state and the head of government, the power resides in a single individual. 2. Under parliamentary system of government, the prime minister exercises real executive power, while the president exercises ceremonial function. That is to say, under parliamentary system of government, the prime minister has real power, while the president is a rubber stamp. It's just a ceremonial head. He doesn't have full power or authority. Under presidential system of government, the president exercises both the executive power and the ceremonial function. That is to say, the president under presidential system of government exercises the real executive powers, both the powers of the prime minister, as in the case of parliamentary, and that of president is exercised by a single individual. 3. Under parliamentary system of government, otherwise known as the cabinet system, the prime minister is nominated or selected by the king or queen from the party that wins the majority seat in the parliament. However, this means that in the parliamentary system of government, the prime minister does not come to power through election. In presidential system of government, the executive president is elected by the electorate through general election. So you can see the differences between parliamentary and presidential in this aspect. The prime minister under parliamentary, he is nominated, while the president is elected. 4. Or D. Under parliamentary system of government, the prime minister and the members of cabinet, that is his ministers, are also part of the legislature to which they are responsible. The prime minister and the members of the cabinet, that is the ministers, are part of the legislature because the cabinet, that is the group of ministers, are selected from the group of lawmakers to become both the executive and the legislature. While in the presidential system, the executive president is not part of the legislature, and so he is not responsible for the body because he is elected by the electorate directly, not selected, not nominated. In this aspect, we can see the differences here. There is a fusion of power because the executive is also a member of legislature. Here, there is no fusion of power because the executive is an independent body. Now, item E. Under parliamentary system of government, in a parliamentary system of government, the executive and legislative powers are fused. That is, we call it fusion of powers. When both of them are members of each particular doing the same work, it's a fusion of power. But in the presidential system of government, there is strict and definite separation of powers among the three arms of government, both the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. To see the differences here, there is a fusion of power. The other one, there is a separation, absolute separation of powers. Now, item F, under parliamentary system of government, the prime minister and his cabinet can be removed from office through the process of vote of no confidence. Not vote, but vote of no confidence. The process of removing the executive and his ministers is called vote of no confidence under parliamentary system. While under presidential system of government, the president can be removed from office through the process called impeachment. So to see the differences between these two, the process of removing a prime minister, executive under parliamentary is called vote of no confidence. Under presidential is called impeachment. G. Under parliamentary system of government, the principles of collective responsibility is applicable in the cabinet system of government. That while the principles of individual responsibility is applicable in presidential system of government. H. The parliament is supreme in cabinet system of government where the executive derives its authority. But in presidential system, the constitution is supreme, is powerful in the presidential system of government, is where the arms of government derive their powers. In a nutshell here, they derive this power, the parliamentary system, they derive their power from the cabinet, while in the presidential system, they derive their power directly from the constitution. I. In the parliamentary system of government, the prime minister is restricted to nominate his ministers only for his party. The opposition party can form its own shadow cabinet. The opposition under parliamentary system is called shadow cabinet. And the prime minister is restricted to nominate only from his party, not from any opposition party. While the presidential system of government, the president can nominate his ministers either from the party or from the public. You can see this is outside the party, this is both within and without. The existence of official opposition party is not allowed in presidential system of government. J. Under parliamentary system of government, the tenure of the prime minister in the office is not fixed because the prime minister will remain in office as long as his party controls the majority seat in the parliament. While under presidential system of government, the tenure of the president is limited to a fixed term, usually 4 years of one term, and maximum of 2 terms of 8 years. K. In the parliamentary system of government, the removal of the prime minister through vote of no confidence will automatically affect the members of this cabinet, that is, these ministers, who will also resign their appointment along with the prime minister. But in the presidential system of government, the removal of the president from the office through a process called impeachment may not affect the members of his cabinet, that is, his ministers. K. Under parliamentary system of government, the principles of check and balances as propounded by Montesquieu, that the principles of check and balances is not in effect.